back in the literature, and we did this, and it's, in any literature review now, it should include that there were many efforts to deal with terminology way back. And they had varying success. A lot of them were done in relationship to the International Grasslands Congress and then the International Rangelands Congress, because as they met, they were bringing in people from all around the world. And first of all, you had a language problem, but then you had this professional language that we speak, and that was a whole different level of problem, challenge with needing a solution. So I guess the thing that triggered it more than anything else was the high tensile wire fencing. When that came out, it revolutionized grazing opportunities and management opportunities. It made it possible to have fencing economically feasible where we couldn't before, and you could move it around. It was portable, and it didn't get destroyed when the neighbor's car ran through it. And there were a lot of things, and rightfully so, Extension got onto that and began to share with producers all the things that it could do. Out of that, though, the terminology used to describe it became a problem because they were talking about controlled grazing. We could now control these things. Well, first of all, I don't know anything biologically that you truly control. But in terms of grazing management, you don't control it, you manage it. And so this idea that this was controlled grazing concerned me. Mostly it concerned me because it meant that if I wasn't doing what I was being told to do, I was out of control. And I probably was. Come to think of it, in a lot of ways, I probably was. But I knew that I could manage grazing without having to do that. And I knew I could do it with reasonable success. But it took management in either case. But in talking with the Extension people primarily, because they were the ones that were trying to translate that information into usable knowledge, as they should have been doing, but they were locked into this controlled grazing. And I said, that's not a good term because it means anything else they do is out of control. And that's not true. So it started from that discussion, frankly. And so I happened to be chair of the American Forage and Grassland Council's Publications Committee at that point. And I thought, this could be a topic we could address and see how far we can get with it. And so it started from there. Talked with Bob Barnes, who is well known throughout our professional area, and a lot of others. And they were encouraging, but they said, don't be too upset if you don't get very far. It's been tried many times before without any success. But if you don't try, you'll never know. Yeah. So we tried. And one of the very first things we knew immediately, if we had a chance of succeeding, we had to have people around that table that represented all these different interests, not only AFGC and the Grasslands Congress's Society for Range Management, the Crop Science Society of America, all of them.
All of their users,
Anybody that had an interest in grazing livestock needed to have a voice. And then it was us doing it together. It wasn't me doing it and telling you to use it, because that never works. And so that's what we did. And largely with Dr. Barnes' help, we identified somebody from the agencies in D.C. We had all kinds of representation. Any agency that had any clue about working with grazing, Soil Conservation Service, Bureau of Indian Affairs, you name it, and they were there. And they're part of it. And we did it together. And at that point, we knew it needed to go further than just the U.S., and certainly further than from Virginia, where I was at that point. But we knew that you tackle something too big at once, you can't get your arms around it, and it doesn't work. So we said, we're going to do this on a U.S.-based scale. And if we can make it work, then we hope we can do an international version at some point. And that's what we did, and it worked. And but even in that very first effort, we had Dennis Benson from Australia and John Hodgson from New Zealand, both of whom had been very active in this terminology area, and both of them very willing to. We invited a few internationally if they would like to be part of it. Those two accepted, and they were hugely valuable to the effort. And out of that, it grew into the successful international effort, and we have the publication now. They were part of both writing teams. So.